Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today's video is going to be a Shop My Stash. So what we're going to do is go through my collection together, pick out a full face of makeup, and then the second part of the video will be sort of a get ready with me where I use all those products and put together a look with them. Really the point is just to try to focus on some products that maybe I haven't been using, products that I want to revisit, and just to kind of have fun with the products that I own. So let's go ahead and get started. This top drawer is sort of what I consider my everyday makeup drawer. It's where I keep my Project Pan items, any products that I'm testing out to review. So I did just recently pull into my Project Pan the Supergoop Glowscreen, and I think we will go ahead and use this today because I actually have not put on SPF yet. And so this will be my SPF and also kind of my primer as well. I will also go ahead and pull out a few other things. These two cream cheek products, this highlight stick and the contour stick, also in my Project Pan, but these are things that I use pretty much every day lately, so we'll pull those in as well, along with my under eye setting powder and my brow products and my eyelid primer, just all the kind of boring stuff. I think today I just want to use my Urban Decay Lash Freak mascara. This is my current go-to. Other than that, I think we may come back to this drawer for a couple things, but I want to go ahead and dig through some of my other drawers now. All right, so here we are in my base drawer. I think for foundation, maybe we'll use the Flower Light Illusion actually. This is one that I actually do kind of like in the summertime. Yeah, let's give this one a shot today. Oh, you know, I do want to use, I've been playing with some color correctors that I just recently got from e.l.f. I got two different shades, the one for deep skin tones and the one for light skin tones, just because I've heard that sometimes a color corrector darker than your skin tone can actually work better. So I kind of want to try both of these today, like one on each eye maybe. Let's do the Too Faced Born This Way concealer just because this is kind of a good solid coverage concealer and I feel like it'll be a good one to test those color correctors with. So I have two setting sprays in my collection, the e.l.f. Dewy Setting Mist, which is new to me, and then the NYX Dewy Finish, which is in my Project Pan. I'm going to go with the NYX Dewy Finish just because I'm trying to get a lot of use out of this lately. And I think that is it for this drawer. All right, so here we have my powder and cheek drawer. You know what? I think instead of using my Project Pan powder, I want to use one of these just because these have not been getting enough use lately. Let's do the Pacifica Crystal Rays Translucent Setting Powder. It's sort of a luminous powder. In fact, you know what? I actually may just use this in place of my e.l.f. Soft Luminance one just because they're both loose and this can work under my eyes and on my face. So let's pull this one out just because it hasn't been used lately and this one I use like every single day. For bronzer, so we do have that Jordana contour stick already picked out. I'm gonna use my Jordana bronzer in Sunkissed Bronze. This is almost like a reddish toned bronzer. I really like it. And I feel like I haven't used it much lately, so let's go for that one. For blush, so all of my last Shop My Stash videos have been very heavily focused on cream products, and that's really just because I have been obsessed with cream products lately. It's like all I want to use. So I do have that cream highlight stick, but I actually really like layering a powder highlight over this. So let's try that. Let's do that with the Aether Beauty Pink Diamond Dust highlight. This is such a beautiful highlighter. It's kind of like a rosy golden highlight. And I have worn it over that cream highlight a couple times and it really makes it look just amazing. So let's do that for highlight. And then for blush, I feel like we should do a powder blush because I've been using my cream products a ton. Let's actually do this Wet n Wild Rosé Champagne blush. It's a peachy blush. I have been liking peachier blushes lately in the summertime, and this, since I've been using my cream products so much, I really haven't been using this a whole lot, but Heidi's meowing really loud in the hallway. Do you guys hear that? She's playing. She does that when she's playing. It's so funny. Yeah, let's do this one. For this drawer, I think the only two things I'm going to grab are my two black eyeliners. I have a pencil and a liquid just in case. I'm thinking we're gonna do a bright summery look today, maybe kind of like a sunset eye. I have a palette in mind, so I don't think I'm gonna use any colorful liners, but just in case I want to use a black liner, we'll have those both. All right, so here we have my lip drawer. One thing I want to grab out of here is my Madame Glam lipstick in Pucker Up. I talked about this. I almost decluttered this in my last declutter video, But I said, let me like really try to use this at least a couple times this summer, and if I end up actually using it and liking it, I'll keep it, and if not, then I'll know to declutter it. But it's a very bright coral kind of shade. It's so pretty that I just didn't quite feel ready to part with it. So I want to maybe try to use this today, depending on where the eye look goes. We'll see if it works. It's such a like almost specific shade that sometimes it can clash easily with things, so that's why I struggle with it, I think. But another thing I want to pull out is the Physicians Formula Healthy Lip in Tulip Treatment. I love this color so much. It's such a summer color, and I feel like I have not used this enough this summer, even though it's the perfect summer red, so that would be another really good option. And then let's also just pick a nude as well, just in case those don't work out. Let's do this ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip. Also goes really well with like summery looks, just because it's a very kind of peachy nude gloss. So that would be a good one in case a bright lip doesn't work out. So yeah, I think those will be our 3 options. I think we should be able to use at least one of those. Actually, one more thing, sorry. I also want to pull out this Profusion lip topper in Frolic. It's a very sparkly lip topper. I think that this could maybe be really pretty over, let's see, in the swatch here, if this would work over this really bright color, because maybe that would be, if we almost do like a blotted lip with those two, would that work? I feel like that could be really pretty and juicy and summery. Let's pull that out as an option as well. You guys know me, I'm very indecisive with my lip products. I like to have options. This is my palette drawer, and I think what I want to do is use my Profusion Spectrum palette. This is just such a bright summery palette, and I've never actually done a look using this palette alone, so I kind of want to try to do that today. Actually, that's not true. I've done like one shadow looks with like this shade, but I've never done a multiple color look with just this palette, so I kind of want to try this. I think I also will pull out my new ColourPop Miss Bliss palette, just because it has some light sort of pastel blending shades that I might want to use alongside that. So just in case I need something a little bit lighter for some blending shades, we'll use that. I think that is going to be it. I don't want to go overboard with eyeshadow. I really want to focus on that Profusion palette. So I think that's everything we need for a full face. We do have a couple lip options, but other than that, I think I did a good job kind of staying on track and not pulling out too many things. Alrighty, so we are over in my little filming corner, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So first things first, this Supergoop Glowscreen, sort of my primer and my sunscreen in one. I'm so excited to have this in my project pan now because I've just really been enjoying it lately, and now I have a reason to use it all the time. But you'll see here just how glowy this is. Like, this would not be for everyone, especially if you, I mean, obviously you probably wouldn't buy a product called Glowscreen if you prefer like matte skin, or if you have really oily skin, you don't want to look shiny. But personally, I love being just a little bit shiny. So now for this Flower Light Illusion, this has been a tricky foundation for me, but I think I like it in the summer. Also, I am so happy to have this Ecotools sponge back in my life. I really think that this is my favorite beauty sponge. I love the shape. I love the firmness of it. It's a little bit firmer than other sponges, but it's still soft, because I think there is such a thing as too squishy for a sponge. But actually, isn't that finish really pretty? The reason why I didn't like this foundation in the winter is just because it wasn't very hydrating, oddly enough, given the name Light Illusion. But now that my skin is a little bit more normal to even slightly oily in the summer, it's working really well for me. And I think that less is more with this foundation. Dang, I don't think I've ever used this with the Glowscreen, but I really like that combo. That is pretty. Wow. I might add just like half a pump, or maybe even less, like just a tiny bit to any areas where I want a little bit more coverage. Really just my cheeks. Wow, this is the first time that I've worn this foundation and actually been like, wow, that looks good. I might be falling in love with this Glowscreen. Like, when I first reviewed it, I was like, you know, it's good if you like super glowy but the way that it interacts with foundation continues to impress me. So anyway, let's try these color correctors. I have tried both of these, still trying to figure out if they do anything. Let's do the light one on this eye and the dark one on this eye. I'm not really sure how much to use of this. It's a very like orangey, peachy corrector, which I think might be better for my undertones than more of a pinky peach corrector, but I'm not sure. Like my dark circles are very grayish purple rather than bluish gray. That looks so silly on me. I don't know whether to like blend that in or I'm gonna tap it in a little bit with my fingers. I feel like at least with the bright orange one, I wouldn't be able to get away with like a lighter coverage concealer because it would show through. But if it can like completely cancel out my dark circles, that would be amazing. I don't know if there is such a product that will do that, but I've been looking for it. I love the shape of this sponge for blending out concealer. It's like my favorite thing about it. Alright, so there we are. I think that both sides look good, but I almost like the side with the lighter corrector a little bit better. I just feel like when I look at both together, my darkness is still a little more visible on this side where I use the darker one. I need to keep testing them. I need to test them more on their own, like one on one eye and then nothing on the other to see how that affects it. But it's funny, you would never guess that I have a dark orange corrector on underneath that concealer there. So I'm just gonna set my under eyes now with this Pacifica Luminous setting powder. Let's do a little bit of contour here. And then some of this cream highlight from Ulta. I love this highlight so much. All right, I just turned on one of my umbrella lights because it was getting really dark in here. That's one of the downsides of relying a lot on natural light. Like I have studio lights, but my videos always turn out looking better with mostly natural light and then a little bit of studio lighting to kind of help a little bit. But since it's getting darker outside, we needed some help, and I think it's a little more balanced out now. So I'm gonna set the rest of my face with this Pacifica powder. I don't want to do too much. This powder is very, very luminous. It has, I don't know if you can tell, but it has almost a little bit of a pink glow. It's very hard to describe. Now for this Wet n Wild blush. This was in my project pan last year, and as you can see, I made a lot of progress, but ever since then, I really haven't used it much. So I'm excited to revisit it a bit. Speaking of Wet n Wild, if you saw my video last weekend where I talked about some of my kind of conflicting thoughts about the cruelty-free label, I also talked about my Beauty Bunny's recent blog post where she explained why she was adding Wet n Wild and Physicians Formula and First Aid Beauty back to her cruelty-free list. I'll link that video below. It was kind of a long video. I was really just kind of thinking out loud in that video. And just as a little bit of an update, I'm kind of still trying to figure out what I think about these brands. I have found out a little bit more information that I think I'm just going to talk about in a future video because I don't want that to take over this video. But I'm leaning towards not supporting these brands because I'm realizing I do kind of disagree a little bit with what my Beauty Bunny was saying, and I think that a lot of her kind of sources for the information she was getting were actual brands, and I'd rather go to other sources for that kind of information because I just don't think brands are really to be trusted when it comes to getting the truth about animal testing and like Chinese laws and stuff. I will definitely explain more. I still need to do a little bit more research, but just to kind of update you a little bit on that. That was really just one part of that video, talking about those brands. I was also kind of just talking about some of my frustration with the term cruelty-free and how it's viewed as a black and white issue, whereas everything in this world really is more of a gray area than anything else. And I don't know, there's a lot to think about, but I've been getting a lot of comments and things where it's like, oh, now that you've talked about this, you should really address this other issue, or what about this brand? Are you gonna stop supporting them because of this? And it's like, okay. Definitely a little overwhelmed right now, just trying to figure everything out, but really I wanted the point of that video to be more like, I kind of feel like we just need to give ourselves a little bit of a break and like relax a little bit, because it really can get very paralyzing. Looking into brands, you'll start to realize that every brand has something unethical about them, and it can get really, really overwhelming. And that really wasn't the point of my video. Wasn't that we should start being even more of perfectionists with our, you know, which brands we support. It was really more to be like, I think we should just relax a little bit, you know, like I want to start viewing the ethics of brands as more of a spectrum, rather than, you know, this either they're cruelty-free or they're not. I don't know, I hope that makes sense. I think a lot of people also got a little bit hung up on the fact that I said I was kind of thinking about dropping the cruelty-free label, and people took that to mean that I was gonna stop being cruelty-free, or that I was gonna start just supporting whatever brand I want and not care about animal testing anymore, and that's not at all what I meant. I know that video was kind of scatterbrained, so I feel like, you know, maybe I just wasn't very clear, but animal testing is never not gonna be something I care about. I'm not gonna start buying from brands that test on animals. I really just kind of want to start looking at the bigger picture a little bit more and being a little bit more comfortable with the gray areas. And I know that doesn't resonate with some people, and that's fine. I don't expect everyone to be on board with what I said, but I think it's time to kind of start being more comfortable with that gray area. So just wanted to clear a couple of things up there, but like I said, I still don't know. I still don't have any answers, but for now, I don't really think I feel comfortable with purchasing from especially Wet n Wild and Physicians Formula, because they were not very transparent about the fact that they were moving into China, and that just, it left a bad taste in my mouth about both brands. First Aid Beauty, at least they were very transparent about it. Like, they contacted all the cruelty-free bloggers and they were like, just to let you know, we're expanding into China, this is what we're doing. Even if you don't agree with their decision to sell in China, at least they were open about it, and they weren't just like sneakily starting to sell in China and hoping no one would find out. At the same time, those brands, like, their bottom line is not really affected by one person's purchase. I don't necessarily feel like I need to support them. Like, I feel like they're gonna be fine without my money. And I'd kind of just rather focus on brands that I know for sure are not having their products tested on animals. But I also think that, you know, if you live in a country where those are some of the only brands you can access, don't beat yourself up for that, you know? Like, I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong answer. Yeah, I really didn't mean to go into this in this video, but here we are. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of doing kind of a sunset eye with these 6 shades-ish here. I don't know if I'll use all 6, but I kind of just want to try that. So I'm gonna start with Marigold and sort of put this all over, mainly in my crease, but yeah, really all over the lid and into the crease. Speaking of Marigold, this is actually in my eyeshadow roulette for this month, and I asked you guys recently on my community tab if you were still into the eyeshadow roulette series, because I just noticed that the interest in that series had really gotten a lot lower in the last few months, and it used to be like one of my most viewed videos. So I was like, maybe we need to switch this up or do something different. I don't know, like, if this is getting boring. And I think what I'm gonna do is actually put the eyeshadow roulette series away for a little bit and maybe start doing a 1 month one palette, because a lot of the feedback I got from you guys was that you really prefer kind of singular palette focused content as opposed to like random shades from every palette. And then some people also said with the eyeshadow roulette, people really like when the focus is to hit pan But for me, I just don't think that'll work for me because it's hard for me to hit pan on eyeshadows and I don't think I would enjoy that. Although I really do like watching other people's pan those eyeshadows series. I just don't think that's really for me. So I think I'm gonna try out the 1 month 1 palette thing. I know I've seen a lot of people do that sort of series on their channels, and I think that might be a good way to go. And we'll just see how it goes. If you guys don't like it, we can do something different, but I feel like that'll be fun because it'll help me really start to see progress on each palette, and I can even set goals for certain shades. Like there may be certain shades in a palette that I could hit pan on in a month. So yeah, it'll be a little more goal oriented and just a fun way to start seeing more use in each of my palettes and to really focus in on individual palettes. I think it'll be fun. And to be honest, I have to say I was getting a little bored with the eyeshadow roulette just because we've been doing it for so long. I'm gonna go into Rave now. I don't really know what I'm doing with this look, but we're just gonna see what happens. It's a very sort of strawberry lemonade kind of look so far. All right, I'm gonna go into Totally, which is a darker sort of fuchsia. This is a $5 palette. I think they do still sell it. I know it's at least sold on Walmart's website, and I think it's also on the Profusion website. I definitely don't like this palette as much as I like the Mauves palette, just in terms of quality. I feel like the shades, you really have to build them. They're not the greatest quality ever, but if you're somebody like me that doesn't use bright colors like this a whole lot, I think it can be good to have if you don't want to spend a lot of money on a rainbow palette. But if you want something more pigmented, I would say maybe look into like Colored Rain or something. Like I know they have some really nice vivid shadows. Like the other day I tried to do an orange wing with the shade Beat, and while the end result was really pretty, I posted it on Instagram so you might have seen it there. While the end result was really pretty, it took me so long to build that up to where you could actually see the orange. And I do feel like this Totally shade is going on kind of patchy. So you do kind of have to struggle a little bit with some of these shades. Adding a little more of the yellow, because I really do want that to peek up over everything else. I think this is just going to be a very blown out look. Like we're basically going all the way up to the brow here. Now I'm going to go into Rain, which is a purple. Just kind of build that up a little bit on my upper lash line. All right, I'm going to do kind of a mix of Marigold and Beat, the orange shade. Just keep kind of blending the crease with those. Do you see how I feel like some of these darker colors, like the purple, are kind of almost blending away? Now for the lower lash line, I'm gonna start with a mix of Marigold and Beat and kind of smoke that out and blow that out. And then on the outer part, I am gonna take a little bit more of Totally to just kind of add some definition. This look is kind of crazy. I do want to take a little bit of this Aether highlight in Diamond Dust on my inner corner just to give a little bit of a highlight there. Alright, I am going to do some setting spray and then I'm going to do liner. Okay, I do feel like my eyes need a little bit of definition, so I'm going to do a little wing on the upper lashes. I didn't end up using the Miss Bliss palette, but that's okay. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. And now for the Urban Decay Lash Freak. This is a crazy mascara. I kind of love it. I talked about it in my last favorites video. I would classify this as a personal favorite, but I also recognize that this kind of mascara is not for everyone. Like some people would absolutely hate this for the same reasons that I love it, so. So I feel like this ended up being less of a sunset eye and more of just a pink and orange eye. Honestly, this is not really my makeup style, but I also had a lot of fun putting this look together, and I think it can be fun to kind of get outside of your usual formula of look that you always do. So I don't know, what do you guys think? So as far as the lip, remember we have 3 options here. I'm gonna try on this Madame Glam one just to see what we think. I feel like it may be a little bit too bright. I I mean, it matches the eye. I just think it almost looks comically bright with this look, but let's try it with this Profusion lip topper in the shade Frolic, just to see if that's any better. So that's what that looks like. I think I would prefer this lip with a little bit more of a subtle eye. I think I am just gonna go with the ColourPop Champagne Mommy gloss, just because I think a subtle lip is just the way to go here. I really like how juicy this gloss color is. So I know I took kind of the safe route with my lip, but I do like that combo a lot better. I think it's a little bit more balanced out. I think we need a little bit more blush. Like with this eye look, there's no such thing as too much blush. So yeah, there's that. Well, this was really fun to put together. I'm glad to have gotten some more use out of this Profusion palette. Very, very bright. You know, it definitely goes to show this is not the best quality rainbow palette. I think if you use rainbow colors all the time and you want something very pigmented and like higher quality, blendable, not patchy, whatever, don't go for this palette. But for me, it works. Like, as somebody who hardly ever wears these colors, I don't really want to spend more than like $5, and I feel like it was a good kind of supplemental palette. And if you're willing to work to get the shades to work, then, you know, it's not a bad palette, but definitely don't expect anything more than a $5 quality palette. That being said, the Profusion Mauves palette is like leaps and bounds better than this in terms of quality. So I hope you enjoyed this Shop My Stash video. I always look forward to filming these videos because it really gives me a chance to use some products that maybe I haven't used in a while or that I need to give another chance, or yeah, it's just a fun kind of makeup playtime for me. So if you enjoyed it, definitely give it a thumbs up. I do these videos every month, so if you want to see more videos like this, definitely subscribe to my channel. Would love to see you again soon, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.